What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media coming at you with the Big 12 new schedule for 2023. Why is this important? Well, give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay. You say, why is this important? Well, the Big 12 has expanded for now. I mean, I guess in a way, you think about this, you have three teams added. BYU, or no, four teams, I'm sorry. BYU, UCF, Central Florida. You have Cincinnati, and you have Houston from the American Conference in the group of five. You have added four teams starting this year. This is the beginning, folks. This is where the conference realignment takes its toll. And it's going to be a domino effect. I really believe that. I really believe that, you know, the new teams coming in are getting it kind of easy in a way. I mean, let's take a look at it too. Some of these team logos I recognize, some of them not so much. I even have to zoom in on my computer screen here. Kent State for UCF. EKU for Cincinnati. That's probably Eastern Kentucky? Let me see here. Yes, Eastern Kentucky. Colorado, TCU. Oklahoma opens up with, Arkansas State. Texas opens up with Rice. I think that TCU Colorado game, you got the national runner up and you got Deion Sanders. That's going to be a good one. Keep that one on your schedule. The games in gray are home games for these teams, so it's at TCU for Colorado. Oklahoma gets Arkansas State, SMU, Tulsa, Cincinnati. It's very interesting how they set it up too. Now, obviously, you can't have everybody play everybody in the Big 12. You just can't do that. But what I notice here for the new members, did they get it easy? Well, let's see. Let's start with BYU, Sam Houston. Let me see. Oh, here we go. They got it updated on FBS schedules. Okay. So let's start with BYU. They start with Sam Houston. They get Southern Utah. I think BYU is a better program than both of those. At Arkansas, at Kansas, Cincinnati, you get a bye week, which is perfect timing because you got a trip to TCU. Texas Tech, at Texas, at West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma State on the road. So this is the beginning of a new era for the Big 12. It's also the end of an era in a way. I mean, it's fixing to be. You're kind of, but not quite, saying goodbye to Oklahoma and Texas before they leave for the SEC in 2025 or 2024, one of those 2 years. So it is coming up. So I'll have to double check when they are leaving. I keep hearing 2025. I've also heard people say, no, it's 2024, but whatever. But for the newcomers, Eastern Kentucky, Pitt, and Cincinnati. That's tough. Miami of Ohio, that should be no problem. Oklahoma at home, BYU on the road, then they get a bye week, and then you get into some interesting games. Welcome to the Big 12. Iowa State, Baylor, Oklahoma State, UCF, Houston, West Virginia. Cincinnati will close with Kansas at home. Kansas is on a track right now. I don't know if they're going to be better this year or not. I think some people expect it to be better. I think maybe they're expected to get better. Looks like they open up. I recognize that team is I think that's Missouri State. They're like the Bears or something. Illinois, Nevada, BYU, Texas, UCF, Oklahoma State, bye week, Oklahoma, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Kansas State, and then Kansas closes with Cincinnati, as we mentioned for the Cincinnati schedule. Teams like Texas, Rice, Wyoming. That's an interesting stretch right there, actually. You get Rice to open the season if you're Texas. I think you'll win that game. But then you got to play at Alabama. You got to play Wyoming. You got to play at Baylor. You got to play Kansas at home. And at Oklahoma. It's not an easy schedule for Texas. But again, did the committee, the Big 12, and I'm going to be honest, Brett Yormark, who is the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference since last August, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. Me personally, I don't understand if it's up to the commissioner about the conference game schedule. It might have to be. I know it's not up to the schools. I mean, the schools can schedule like all these different home and homes and can decide to leave a conference. But when it comes to the conference games and who they play, that's where it gets interesting. BYU has to play TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas all in a row. 3 games in a row on October 14th, 21st, and 28th. Then they got to play West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma State. That's to close out the second half of the season. That's a tough stretch for BYU. I mean, Cincinnati, they kind of get it easy, I guess. Gus Malzahn and UCF, Kent State, Boise State, Villanova. You can handle that. Is it really that tough of a 3-game stretch next, though? Kansas State, Baylor, Kansas, bye week, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Cincinnati. I think it sets up okay for UCF. It's not too bad. I don't see like back-to-back road game. Well, I take that back for UCF. It technically is back-to-back road games. Kansas, bye week, and then at Oklahoma. But to do BYU at Texas, at West Virginia, back-to-back consecutive weeks, that's tough. That's tough, and that's cold-hearted right there. West Virginia, they open with Penn State. I think that's a new home and home that we have coming up in college football. It's at Penn State to open up at Beaver Stadium. Then they got Duquesne. They got Pitt. They got Texas Tech. They got TCU. Coming off a bye, they got Houston on the road, Oklahoma State at UCF, BYU at Oklahoma, Cincinnati. And again, we don't know what these teams are going to look like. I could only predict, and we're going to try to do team previews this offseason, and we'll look at the schedules. We'll break it down, what initial thoughts are for a record. But again, don't take my word for it. I'm not an expert. I'm still just kind of just getting started here. In the college football media world, which, by the way, I have figured it out. I'm set to be a college football analyst. Like, that's what I want to do. It's what I hope to become. I want to do college football. I want to provide college football content for you guys, even in the off season. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk NFL, but mostly, and I've said this before too, I mean, my number one sport has always been and always will be college football. So, the big question, as you see by the title, did the new members get it easy? Did the new members get it easy? Let me see here. I'm going to pull the schedule back up. And we're going to take the overlay down. But I think, there's only so many different ways you could set the schedule for BYU, Cincinnati, UCF. I think that it's a good start to get a feel for it. I mean, when you look at these teams, they don't get a taste. Nobody gets a taste of Big 12 action until the fourth week of the season. So we're like a month in, almost. The non-conference schedule for a team like Cincinnati, I mean, you got to play Pitt. You got to play EKU. You got to play Miami of Ohio. Outside of that Pitt game, the non-con for Cincinnati is it's pretty set up. I mean, honestly, I guess it is. It'll be the first year, full year for Scott Satterfield, who comes in after a failure at Louisville. Not too much of a failure. I mean, it was okay. It just wasn't really going anywhere. But he comes in. He replaces Luke Fickell. And yeah, I mean, Iowa State, Baylor, UCF, to have those be home games for Cincinnati, to have a team like Baylor at home, to have a team like Iowa State at home, to have Oklahoma at home, I think the Big 12 kind of gave you a grace card. I think they're showing a little bit of love for Cincinnati, not having to go play those teams on the road right out the gate. I'm doing good, Brandon. Good to see you in the comments, buddy. I really think that they, have favored. And I don't think there's any, listen to me, I am not here to say there's any bias. There might be. I'm not going to be the one to determine that. Not going to be the one to say that. But it seems as if Cincinnati with Scott Satterfield, even UCF, Now, I mentioned they have Kansas and Oklahoma on the road between the bye week. You got Kansas on the road. You got Oklahoma on the road. And in between those games, they have a bye week. What's up, Mike Gee? Mike Gee in the house, but CB in the house. What up? Yes. What is up, man? I'm here. I'm still here, man. I know I haven't been doing as much content lately, or it seems like it to me. Just been so busy with school. Been working. But I always try to find time for you guys. I love y'all. I mean that. And we're going to get some great content out this year. So, I forgot what team I was on here, but I mean, the point being is, really focusing in on BYU, Houston. I keep forgetting Houston in there, but BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF. I think they are. I think they got it off kind of an easy start to the schedule. Kind of an easy way to go about it, just to get them a feel for the Big 12 going forward. Saw me with Mark Rogers. Great job. Keep it up. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you. So, to answer the question, did the new members get it easy? It might not be exactly the same for every team. You can't do that. Right? Well, like Miami of Ohio, Pitt, Eastern Kentucky, for Cincinnati. It's a good non-con stretch there to start the season. At Pitt is probably the worst you have to worry about to start. And if you get over that, congratulations. If you don't, you bounce back beating Miami of Ohio. And then maybe you compete. Heck, they might even be better than Oklahoma next year. I haven't looked at Oklahoma yet. I don't know. It was a rough go. 6-6 this year? Brent Venables year one. Not too good. Really not too good. A Friday game with BYU. And by the way, when these teams, when BYU, Cincinnati, and UCF, when they play each other, should we consider that, that's a tough game there. They got to play BYU. They got to play Central Florida. They got to play. It's a tough game. They're all new to the conference, dummy. They're all new. They just happen to run into each other along the way, trying to navigate and figure out this new start in this new era of college football. We are in a new era of college football. This conference realignment. I don't know where it ends, but this 2023 schedule here, this is the start of it. This is the start of conference realignment. And like it or not, it's here to stay. And there's not really much we, the people, can do about it. Not really. So, Sam Houston, Southern Utah, at Arkansas, at Kansas, Cincinnati, bye week. That's the start for a team like BYU and their football program this season. They have updated the schedules on fbsschedules.com. I like using them. I think they're reliable. I use those when I do team previews, and we will preview the Big 12 teams starting some point very soon. Maybe I go ahead and get out BYU's schedule or Cincinnati or something. And I had a comment the other day. I don't remember which one it was on, maybe Alabama. And someone had asked me, like, oh, it's too early to do this. We don't know about the portal. We don't know about NIL. We don't know about recruiting on signing day part 2. There's so much that could happen for these teams. Why the hell are you previewing in the off season when it's, I'm like, because it's fun. I enjoy it. I love looking at the schedules, man. I love giving an early feel, getting a early prediction out for these teams. I really do, man. It's fun. So, again, team like Iowa State. Who is that? UNI. Northern Iowa. Then Iowa, then Ohio. So what about the other Big 12 teams, the ones that are already members? What do they get out of facing the new members? Well, first off, again, there's 4. BYU, not South Florida, Central Florida. So BYU, UCF, Houston, Cincinnati. Okay. Looking at this, it looks like every Big 12 team outside of the 4 that are new, it does look like, unless I see it different, I'll let you know. They get 1 home and 1 road with the new members. But they get 2 of the members. For example, TCU has a road game with Houston and a home game with BYU. Texas, road game with Houston, home game BYU. West Virginia has a Thursday road game with Houston, home game BYU. And of course, I mean, I just kind of picked those teams at random. That's pretty cool that a couple different Texas teams have BYU and Houston. Oh, here you go. Oklahoma State, believe it or not, actually, Oklahoma State plays all 4 of them. Cincinnati at home, BYU at home, UCF and Houston are on the road. The UCF and Houston are back-to-back before rivalry weekend with BYU. So Oklahoma State will play BYU on rivalry weekend. Kansas will play Cincinnati. Houston will play UCF. I like that. So that's your 4 new teams. So yeah, I like it. I think it's a good schedule. I think it's a good setup for the Big 12, and I think it's obviously only the beginning of something new for the conference. Want to hear from you people in the chat. We are live, but if you're watching this back, if you get a chance, hit that thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching it back. Subscribe if you're new for more college football content, more sports content, and let me know down below in the comments what you think about the new schedule and ultimately these 4 teams joining the Big 12. It's the start of something new in college football, the start of conference realignment, and we're excited to get after it. Let's go. I love y'all. I'm going to get out of here. God bless. Jesus loves you. And until next time, Ballard Sports Media is checking out. I love you guys. See ya.